you have been living like you are invisible. Not in some sort of dramatic crisis level way, just quietly, where there's this low level belief running in the background where, if you disappeared for a season, nobody would notice. And the things that you're carrying, the real things that you're carrying, that they're going unseen, unheard, unnoticed. Maybe you've applied this to God as well. It's like, maybe he doesn't see me. Maybe I'm going unnoticed. Maybe he's got bigger plans than to just deal with me. It's like the scale of what you're managing doesn't particularly fall on his radar just because you think that it's insignificant to him. And I want to tell you, this belief that you have that God does not notice you, it's actually a lie. And we're going to dismantle that lie today. Because there's nowhere you can go that is outside the gaze of God. And this is the question I want you to sit with today. Does this terrify you, or does this actually bring you the most healing that you've encountered? Because this same God, the same eyes, can either pierce through you or they can revive you. And this is two completely different experiences of reality. I was reading in Proverbs 15 verse 11 earlier, and I saw that it said, hell and destruction are before the eyes of the Lord, and how much more the hearts of the children of men. And it struck me because it's hell and destruction, the uttermost depths, a place of ruin, a place of destruction, the part of reality that is entirely beyond human understanding. That place is before the Lord, open before him, fully seen, nothing hidden, completely naked. See, Solomon does something with that in this proverb. He doesn't stop there. He keeps on going. If that's true, if the depths of hell and destruction lie before the eyes of the Lord, then how much more the hearts of men. So he's making an argument by scale. If God sees the absolute depths of ruin, places that no human being has ever mapped or measured or returned from to report, then how can he not see those things deep within your chest? What makes you think your private failure, your secret grief, the things you haven't told anyone, fall below his sight? See, it doesn't, and it never has. So, and just a few verses earlier, actually in verse 3, Solomon says it plainly. He says, Proverbs 15 verse 3, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. It's every place, every condition, both. God sees everything and he does not look away. I want to take a moment right here. I want you to know that this revelation does not stop here. I have a newsletter. It's called the Fire Letters. I want you to be a part of it. Go join. Be the first to know when these videos come out and read the written revelation. All right, let's get back into it. Now stay with me because I want to show you someone. There's a difference between being watched and being seen. So think about a security camera. It records everything and it doesn't care about you. It's not interested in you. It just captures what's happening in the moment. See, if you've been relating to God's omniscience in a way like that, like he's some camera in a room you can't leave, I understand why faith feels like a performance. See, that's not the God of this book that we read. The Holy Scriptures say something different. We see the God of this book is the one who saw Hagar. Hagar, if you don't know the story, Hagar is the servant of Sarah. And she has no status or power. No one's advocating for her. Sarah treats her so harshly that she runs. She's in the desert, pregnant, alone, with nothing, no plan, no protection, no future she can see from where she's sitting. And God finds her. Genesis 16:13. And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God seest me. For she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeth me? El Roi, the God who sees me. See, she didn't say the God who rescues me. She didn't say the God who fixes my situation. She said the God who sees me. Because being found was the proof that she had never been invisible. Not in the desert, not in the shame, not in the place she ran to when she had nowhere left to go. See, God was already there and he saw her. The pattern doesn't stop with Hagar, and scripture actually builds a case for this. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. I'm going to show you 3 moments that carry the same fingerprint because this is not a one-off. This is actually how God moves. So, Job, children gone, health gone, and his friends sitting around him running their theology on him, telling that God must have turned his face away, because surely, they say, if God really saw you, you wouldn't be suffering like this. And then God shows up in the whirlwind. And what does he say? Job 38:4. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding. The entire speech of God to Job is not an answer to Job's questions. It is a revelation of gaze. God says, I've been watching the sea, the stars, the gates of death, the treasure of the snow. I've been watching all of it. Nothing has escaped me, including you, including this. See, the friends of Job said that God had looked away, but God showed up and said, I never stopped looking. And then we go to David. Psalm 139, a psalm people frame on walls and read at funerals, and we've made it so pretty I think we've lost the edge of it. Because David doesn't open this psalm with comfort. He opens it with something that's closer to awe, that's tipping toward overwhelm. Psalm 139, 7-8. Whither shall I go from thy spirit, or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. David is mapping the total territory of God's gaze: heaven, hell, the uttermost parts of the sea. And what he's landing on is not, oh, how lovely. He's landing on, there is nowhere I could go to get outside of this. Absolutely nowhere. And what begins as something that could feel like a trap becomes the thing that saves him, because a God who could see into the depths of hell can also see into the depths of your pain, into the place you ran to, into the night you don't talk about. He's already there. And we go to Isaiah. In the year that King Uzziah died, a nation in mourning, a people without direction, Isaiah goes into the temple. And what he encounters is not comfort. Isaiah 6:1-2. I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. The Lord on the throne, high and lifted up, and the seraphim, 6 wings each, 2 covering the face, 2 covering the feet, 2 to fly with. See, these are the beings of fire standing in the direct presence of God, and even they cover their faces because they understand the gaze is holy. And Isaiah in that moment doesn't feel chosen. Isaiah 6:5 says, Then said I, woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips, for mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Being fully seen by God, really seen, not just acknowledged, is not comfortable. See, Isaiah doesn't come out of this encounter feeling good about himself, but rather he's on his face, because being seen by God is not an ego event, it's an encounter event. See, the pattern's the same every single time. God's gaze does not search for people who have it together. It finds people in the desert, in the wreckage, in the temple with their face on the ground. So what actually is the key? So here's the thing that most people walk right past when they read all of these passages together. The eyes of the Lord are not passive. 2 Chronicles 16:9. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. The eyes of the Lord run. They run to find. This is not a God who sits back and surveys from a distance. This is a God who is actively, urgently, right now, searching, moving, and running. See, the Hebrew word there, it carries urgency. It's not a glance. It's not a periodic check-in. It's a search. God is searching the earth, and he's looking for something specific, a heart that is perfect toward him. See, and here's what the modern church has done with this. I say this with love, but I want to say it clearly. We've turned the eyes of God into a reward system. It's like behave right and you get seen. It's like perform well, earn the blessing, show up consistently, get the divine attention. See, that's not what this verse is saying. Perfect toward him in the Hebrew, shalem. It means whole, undivided. It's not moral perfection. It's a heart that isn't split between trusting God and managing the situation yourself. He's searching for people with undivided hearts. And that is a completely different standard, because perfection locks most of us out, but undividedness is a posture anyone can choose, including you right now in whatever state you're in. See, I would be doing you wrong if I stopped right there, because undividedness costs something, and I need to tell you what it costs. See, Hagar paid it. She didn't choose the desert, but in that desert, she had nothing left to manage with. No strategy, no backup plan, no way out she could engineer. All she had was the raw, unmanaged reality of her need, and that exposed, undivided. There is nothing left in me. That's what El Roi found. See, Isaiah paid it. He walked into the temple with his own assumptions about his own standing with God, and they were gone in 3 seconds. He said, woe is me, I am undone. I am a man of unclean lips. See, this is not a technique. This is a man who stopped managing how he appeared before God and let the gaze actually land. See, David paid it. Psalm 139 doesn't end at verse 8. It ends here. Psalm 139, 23 and 24. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. He invited the gaze into places he couldn't even see himself, and that is an undivided heart, not a perfect one, an open one. See, this is a heart that stopped hiding. And what do they all receive in return? Not comfort first, encounter first. And out of the encounter, the call, the commission, the sending. Because God's gaze doesn't land on you to leave you where you are. It lands on you to move you into what you were actually made for. So Father, I pray for the one watching this who has been living small, who's been carrying the quiet belief that they're invisible to you. Let El Roi become their revelation today. Not information, but a true encounter with the living God. Let them feel what it is to be found. Amen. See, the same eyes that made the seraphim cover their faces, those eyes are on you today. Not to catch you or audit you, not to file a report on everything that you've done wrong, but to find you in whatever desert that you've walked into this week, in whatever wreckage you're sitting in right now, to say, I have been here the whole time. I saw you before you had the words. I was already there. See, I want to talk directly to this person that this word was sent for. You've been carrying an assumption so familiar, you've never thought to question it. That somewhere in the noise and the failure and the quiet years, you slipped below God's radar. That you're being tolerated, not pursued. That if he really saw what was going on inside you, he would turn his attention somewhere more worth it. That assumption ends today. For Revelation 1:14 says, his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. The risen Christ, eyes like fire, and he walks among the 7 churches in Revelation. Not the perfect ones, the ones with compromise in them, the ones with grief in them, the ones where people are almost done, and he sees them. Specifically by name, by what they're carrying, not despite it, but through it. This gaze that he has, these fiery eyes, has not changed. See, the one who found Hagar in the desert, the one who answered Job in the whirlwind, the one whose presence collapsed Isaiah in the temple, he is the same one whose eyes are like fire. And he is looking at you right now, in this season, in this room, in the private thing you haven't told anyone. So stop living like you're invisible. You are not invisible, and you have never been invisible. El Roi saw Hagar before she named him. He sees you before you have the words. The question was never whether God is looking. The question is whether you're willing to be found. If the answer is yes, I am willing to be found, then you are already standing where Hagar stood, where Isaiah stood, where David stood when he opened his chest and said, search me, know me, lead me. The coal is still being offered. The commission is still on the table. The eyes of the Lord are running still to and fro, searching for someone whose heart is undivided enough to receive what he's carrying. And that person is you. It's always been you. So come back. Not because there's more content, but because what landed today is a seed, and the seed needs tending. That's what this channel is for. We go deeper every time. We take you into an encounter. That's what I'm here for. I am a vessel of God to bring you closer to Christ. So if you want the word to keep going between videos, I have the newsletter link in the description. Come in. The fire doesn't stop between uploads. So, and if you're watching this today and you're not sure that you're his, I want to invite you, if you've been on the outside of the faith, you're curious but not committed, watching this but not yet in. The door was opened at Calvary and has never been closed. He sees you too. He's always seen you. Head to seraphministry.com and there's a place for you to take the first step. You don't need to have it together. You just need to be willing to be found. God bless.